Rome does not have a king. Rome has law, 45 of them, written for this mod, for this era, and for this republic, and every one of them changes how your kingdom actually functions. Let me show you how they are built. Roman law is divided into 5 books: government, economy, civil, wartime, and political struggle. Each book holds 3 chapters. Each chapter holds 3 laws, and here is the rule that makes the whole system work. The 3 laws inside a chapter are mutually exclusive. Passing one repeals whichever of its rivals was already in force. You are never choosing whether the Republic has a policy on something. You are choosing which of 3 answers it gives. That means there is no perfect build. There are only trades, and someone always pays for them. The first chapter of government is the balance of power. It asks a single question: where does authority sit in Rome? The economy book is where the Republic decides how it eats. The civil book governs how Rome treats its own citizens, and it is where you learn that loyalty is something you buy. The wartime book only matters when Rome is fighting, and some of its laws do nothing at all in peacetime. The 5th book is different from the other 4. These laws are not policy, they are weapons. Every law in political struggle names a political party and attacks it, trying to lower their influence and power, so that that party gains a disadvantage when voting for proposals. The Roman Senate has 300 seats, 3 political parties. Every law you just saw has to pass through here. So does every treaty, every declaration of war, and every acre of conquered land. The populars stand for food, civic protections, the militia, and local autonomy. Lesser clans and the urban populace sit with them. The Equites stand for trade, finance, roads, military supply, and stable provinces. Capable, prosperous houses find their home here. The Optimates stand for property, revenue, direct rule, and military authority. These are the established families. The older and richer your house, the likelier you sit among them. Every lord and notable in Rome is sorted into one of the 3 by who they actually are: their traits, their land, their wealth, and their influence, not by a menu choice. Every political party takes a position on every law, supports, opposes, or divided, and the position is never arbitrary. It follows directly from what the law does. The Lex Hortensia takes influence from the great houses and hands it to the small ones. Of course the populares support it. Of course the Optimates fight it. The Societates Public Honorum makes tax farming enormously profitable. The Equites and the Optimates can live with that. The populares who live in the towns being squeezed cannot. So no law here is simply good or bad. Every law is good for somebody. The only question is whether that somebody has the seat. The 300 seats are redistributed constantly, weighted by clan standing, influence, land, wealth, and civic support. So the chamber is not a fixed obstacle. It is a live picture of who currently matters in Rome, and as your campaign changes the Republic, the balance of the chamber changes with it. You are not a spectator in this. You join a political party, provided your standing with them is above 0. Your first choice is free. Change allegiance later and it will cost you 5,000 dinars and a long cooling off period, because Rome remembers who switched sides. The Senate sits once a week. Bills are tabled on the sitting day, then debated before the vote is taken. The Senate tables its own business every week, but you do not have to wait for it. For 100 influence, you can put a law before the House yourself. Any law from any of the 5 books. It then goes through exactly the same process as any other bill. The factions take their positions. You lobby. And the chamber votes, and it can absolutely tell you no. That influence is spent whether the law passes or fails, which means proposing is a gamble, and the week beforehand, counting your seats, buying the votes you are short, is where the game actually lives. You no longer declare war. You propose it. War, peace, trade agreements, alliances, calling an ally to your side. Every one of them is first debated and voted on in your own Senate. Your own countrymen can refuse you. And when the proposal concerns a foreign power, you do not simply ask for peace. You write the terms yourself. There are 4 levers. A lump sum. Silver, paid once by your kingdom or to you. A daily tribute. A standing payment that runs for as long as the treaty holds. The land clause. You can hand back what you conquered during this war. You can demand what they took from you. Or you can leave the map exactly as it stands, and a period of non-aggression, a fixed number of days during which neither side may attack the other. Now here is the problem, and it is the best thing about this system. Your offer has to survive 2 votes. Make the terms too generous, and your own Senate throws it out, because you are giving away Roman silver and Roman land, and the men in that chamber have to answer for it. Make them too harsh, and the Senate will happily approve it, and the enemy council will laugh and refuse. So a treaty is not a button. It is a negotiation with 2 audiences at once, and you are looking for the narrow band of terms that both chambers can live with. You can lobby political parties to your cause, spend political influence, or spend silver to move a political party's vote before the division is called. Each political party answers to a different currency. The Optimates respond to influence. They already have money. The Equites and the Populares can be reached with dinars, and you may press the same faction twice on any one proposal. A political party that has been winning votes carries more weight in the chamber than its numbers alone would suggest. A political party that has been beaten and humiliated carries less. That is why the political struggle laws matter. Knocking a faction's momentum down is how you break a bloc that has been running the Republic without you. Now, since we are waiting for the Senate to take place and vote for our proposal, let us talk a little bit more about the laws we have and some other things. The laws you see here are mostly either realistic laws that the Roman Republic had, or laws that they could have had. Almost nothing here is invented. Here is a little bit of history about the laws we had. For example, the Lex Hortensia was passed in 287 before Christ, and it really did make the resolutions of the plebs binding on the whole Roman state. The censors really did hold a 5-yearly reckoning of citizens and property. The Cura Annonae really was the grain office. The Societates Publicanorum really were private companies that bought the right to squeeze the provinces, and they really were as destructive as they look here. Where something is a deliberate abstraction, we say so rather than hide it. The Populares and the Optimates were not political parties with membership rolls and headquarters. They were tendencies, ways of doing Roman politics. But the pressures behind them were absolutely real, and those pressures are what this system models. Rome is only where we are starting. Every political culture in Eagle Rising gets its own body of law, its own factions and its own vocabulary, written in its own language rather than translated into convenient English. Rome argues in Latin. Carthage argues in Punic. Its chamber is divided between the Adarim, the elder houses, the Barachim, the war party, and Am-Kart Hadasht, the people of the new city. The Hellenistic kingdoms argue in Greek. In the courts of Macedon and the Seleucids you will find the Hetairo, the companions of the king, the Philoi, his friends, and the Peshetyro, the foot companions of the phalanx. The Germanic peoples use reconstructed Proto-Germanic. The Gauls, Celtic roots. The Iberians use genuine attested Iberian elements, Iltir, Ilton, Salair, Ekiar, and the Saka use broad Old Iranian. And where a name is a scholarly reconstruction rather than something attested in a surviving text, that is stated plainly rather than dressed up as certainty. Now, as you can see, sadly our first proposal of passing a new law was rejected, even though I have spent a lot of money and influence to convince the other parties to pass my law. Some senators changed their positions due to political lobbying. Not only the player is able to lobby laws, other political parties may use their money and wealth to lobby as well. The good news, though, is that my peace proposal with the Saka has passed the vote in the Senate, and now we have sent the Saka our peace proposal. They would need to now take the proposal and vote on it with their own voting mechanisms, and we just have to wait to hear from them. They do not merely have different laws. They have entirely different ways of deciding anything at all. Rome and Carthage are republics, 300 fixed seats, redistributed by standing, land, wealth and influence, and a straight majority carries the day. The ruler is one voice among many, and can be outvoted like anyone else. Macedon and the Seleucid Empire are not republics, they are courts. The crown holds an enormous block of that court all by itself, and critically those seats go to whichever faction the king personally belongs to. So the game in a Hellenistic kingdom is not outvoting the king. It is deciding whose faction has him. The tribal peoples hold assemblies rather than senates. The Germanic thing, the Gaulish assembly of tribes, the Iberian council of Oppida. There are no fixed seats at all. Weight comes from the strength of your warband, your renown, your wealth, and your holdings. A chief with 500 spearmen behind him is listened to, whatever his birth. And the laws themselves can rewrite who gets heard. One Germanic law grants any clan with 100 warriors a quarter more weight in the assembly. A Gaulish law does the exact opposite, taking weight away from the war leaders and handing it back to the settled tribes. The Saka do not have a capital to hold an assembly in. Their state is a moving royal camp and a coalition of mounted clans, and their council is a gathering of clan chiefs, where one law can hand the king nearly half again as much weight as anyone else, and turn the coalition into an autocracy on horseback. The Saka have voted on our proposal of peace, and it seems our proposal was not sufficient enough for them to approve it. Now we have two options. Either give them an offer they cannot refuse, or we destroy them in the battlefield and force their surrender.